an actress from Mumbai. She is best known for playing the role of Seher in the television series NCR Days of the Timeliners. Her role as Anukriti in a popular Hindi TV series and her frequent appearances on Filter Copy's viral videos made her a known face in the Indian television fraternity. Active in the entertainment industry since 2020, she has also appeared as Agnes in the English feature film Kavita and Teresa. So without further ado, let's call on stage the gifted and the gorgeous Heer Kaur.
A very warm welcome to each one of you present here. It's an absolute honor to have you wonderful people seated right in front of you. If you want things to change, be the change. Well, I'm sure you must have heard this like a zillion times by now. And so did I. But when I first got a call to be here as a speaker, I got really scared. I got scared thinking, oh my God, it's such a short notice. Oh my God, I'll have to open up. Oh my God, I'll have to speak up about my family, about my personal life, about my past life. But that's when I thought to myself, wait. The first step to change is to speak about the change. And so, here I am. Let me just rewind this a bit and take you to my past life. I haven't been very privileged as a child. I wasn't born with a silver spoon. My parents were these nuclear family with 3 kids. 2 daughters and a son, youngest son. My dad passed away when I was pretty young. And that perhaps was the first time in my life that I experienced what a true change meant. I saw my mother change. From this naive young lady who, by the way, at that time didn't even know how to use an ATM card, to a strong woman who was now supposed to take care of 3 children. My brother was probably 5 years or so at that time. I saw him mentally change. From a little boy to a man who thought to himself that now he's the only male member left in the family and he must take care of the 3 females. Well, this also reminds me of a funny and cute story from my childhood. Back then I would have a scooty on which I would drive my brother to his tuitions. One fine day he comes up to me and says, I'm not going to go with you. I said, why? What happened? I'm a man and I'm supposed to protect you. What do you mean? I don't like when guys look at you while you're riding and they comment on you, so I don't want to go with you. Like, okay, so what do you do about it? And he says, I look them in the eye and make this angry face. They get scared and run away. And all this while I'm just driving and he's seated at the back. Now, well, as much as it sounds funny and cute right now, back then it wasn't. Because it made me realize how a little boy of that age is already burdened with this pressure of realizing that he's the only male member of the family. And not to forget, I saw my relatives change from this picture-perfect hum saath saath hai family to sending my mother an invoice for the detailed description of bills for the amount of money that was spent on the cremation of my father. Some of the items listed were ambulance that was supposed to bring the body from the hospital to a house, donations that were made, money that was given to the poor, ghee, flowers, incense sticks, these silly items. Well, I still have that laminated. You know, sometimes in life, it's just one incident or one situation enough to change your entire life. And for me, that was the moment. I had a tough time growing up. I had a rough childhood. There were days when our mother would recite prayers because we couldn't sleep, fearing somebody would break in. There were days when after a summer or a winter break, people would ask me, hey, where did you go for your summer breaks? I went here, I went there. And I would just make up stories. Oh, I went to Goa for that matter, because we would hardly travel. So today if somebody tells me, hey, don't you get tired, traveling so much and for your work and stuff like that, it takes me back to my memory lane and I smile at them. When you have a childhood like that, it is very likely for you to have a low self-esteem and have a poor self-confidence. And self-confidence is something we build over time. We are not born with it. Acting as a profession makes it difficult because it requires for you to be patient. It requires for you to have confidence. And when you enter this industry, you're often compared, you're often judged. And having a self-confidence like mine, it makes it 10 times more difficult. Well, now comes the toughest part. Your inner deceiver. What actually is an inner deceiver? It's your inner thought in your mind that constantly demeans you, pulls you down, judges you, breaks your self-confidence and tells you you're not sufficient enough, you're not enough. And it's something within you, in your head. You can't do anything about it. That's the worst part. And I, of course, had this inner deceiver very strong within myself that would tell me, no, you cannot do it. Well, to be very honest, we all have that one bad guy within us right now at this very moment. So what do we do about it? How do we get rid of this? Is there a way? Well, of course. There's a trick. And before I proceed, if I hadn't been practicing this myself, I wouldn't be here right now. Have you ever watched a movie or read a story where the hero's life is not full of troubles, no challenges at all? No, right? Come on, even Pandora's life eventually was full of troubles. I want you to imagine your life as a story and yourself as the main character. Now let us do a quick mind reset for this main character. I call it my ICE theory. I stands for identify, C stands for courage, and E stands for evolve. Identify why you feel this about yourself. What is the reason behind it? Have the courage to change what you feel about yourself. And now that you know why you feel a certain way, it becomes a lot easier. And E, evolve realizing your potentials. So the whole idea that brings about for a change is to trust yourself first. Change your outlook towards yourself. Only then can you make the slightest of the difference to the society. Okay, let me explain this further. If I may brutally ask, why are we all gathered here today? To listen to each other's story? What happens when we listen to each other's story? We get inspired. We feel motivated, isn't it? And what happens when we feel motivated? We feel good about ourselves. For example, say today you propose your crush and your crush says yes. What happens next? The world around you changes. You feel more confident. You don't get angry on little things. But what actually changes? Nothing. It's that time when people come to you and say, "Kya baat hai bhai, aaj to bahut chamak raha hai." You're still the same person, aren't you? No. But something changes about you, and that is your spark. So the whole idea, if I may say in two words actually, would be love yourself. I know you must have heard this again a million times, but do you actually love yourself? Well, honestly, I myself didn't really understand what loving yourself means unless I recently was binge watching on this show which showcased lifestyles of different participants. Now, I had this favorite participant of mine. She was this beautiful lady who would take good care of herself. And in one episode, there was a task on which they had to walk on the bed of nails. Now here's me slouching on my sofa with a bowl full of junk, extremely excited to see how she performs. To my surprise, she denies. Well, no offense to the fact she was a bad sport. But the way she described her no, she says, "I can't put my body through something like this. I love my body way too much. I can't let my body walk through this." I'm like, wait, that's exactly what love yourself means. Do you agree? When we start loving ourselves, we become more powerful. And this power now lies in our hands. We don't give this power to somebody else for them to tell, what we deserve in life and what we don't. People often say, aim big, dream high. I think I would rather believe in saying, make small goals, achieve one at a time. For example, if your goal is to buy a luxury car, start with a small car. Go on drives. Have faith in yourself. If your aim is to become an actor, go join an acting class. If your aim is to wake up, say for example, 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, start by reducing one eye each day. If your aim is to reduce 15 kgs, start by 2 kgs a month. Or even for that matter, 1 kg a month. And don't forget to applaud yourself. When we are climbing a mountain, we are often very motivated. "Haan bhai, main to kar lunga." But then comes a point where you're like, "Oh my God, I can't do it anymore." But when you just turn back and look at the distance you've covered, you feel highly motivated to move forward. It is always about making small changes of utmost significance and not about making big changes. It's one brick at a time. Well, of course, if your foundation is good, you will end up creating an entire building. But for this, the first thing you need to do is to trust yourself and focus on being impactful. So that even if you're gone, even if you are dead, your impact remains there. Like my favorite quote, all-time favorite quote goes by saying, "You may break, You may shatter the vase if you will, but the scent of the roses lingers there still. Remember this. People are always going to say things to you. People are always going to say, अरे चलते से नहीं होगा, तेज बन रहा है, क्या उखाड़ लेगा? But have faith in yourself and keep moving forward. So in a nutshell, if today I had to leave you with one piece of advice from my journey, that would be fall in love, but this time with yourself.